Hello again. I try to be realistic in life, but I prefer to feel optimistic because optimism, it feels better if you have good feelings and you're starting to feel more positive about things. It's just always more, life is better when you're feeling optimistic about it. So another Quora question from one of my favorite websites, which takes this will end up with me telling you a story, someone else's story, which is, inspirational, and maybe it gives a glimmer of hope, but I'm going to be realistic, and not expecting people in my life to change. Like I said in the other videos, you have to work on yourself, make yourself healthy and happy, and other people go on their journey, and you wish them the best, and you hope they get better and improve as well. So this question is: are there any healed narcissists out there? And this person was asking for stories from a narcissist, and then the first one is from Stony Gump BE, and I'll just read out his story, which was very cool, and it sort of goes against the conclusions that I'd made to this time. So here's what Stony Gump said. He said that I used to plot all my interactions in my head before, during, and after school. I was highly jealous of people and their groups of friends. I saw myself as highly distinguished from them, aesthetically, creatively, and intellectually. I avoided crowds in exchange for one-on-ones. I knew that I could charm my way through the person by exploiting my creativity and generosity. Mind you, I wasn't being nasty, I just wanted friends like everyone else. Friends who wouldn't judge and shame me. I enjoyed being misunderstood. It gave me an edge and admiration. Personal behaviors became a problem in college when I realized most people distanced themselves from me. Before then, I thought it was expected, since most unique souls were misunderstood. Some friends would be mean, no matter how kind I thought I was to them. I wondered why that was. I began to question how I'd reacted to people and why I couldn't maintain long-lasting relationships. I didn't fully know then, but my lifelong jealousy and antics had become overwhelming at that stage. I felt very few people to truly resonate. I noticed something common with my family, friends, and colleagues, that they mostly did not know me. It was like some special curse. Oddly, one day during the holidays, my mother walked into my bedroom to fetch something. She looked at me, said a few words, and then left. I was always hiding in there, creating art and plotting unintentionally. Excuse me. Unintentionally. I need something to drink, like a cup of tea or something. I remember feeling something within me break. It was like I saw my mother for the first time as a separate human being. I remember thinking to myself that I'd never actually seen her before. It's as though she'd always been me. Like for the first time I'd allowed her to break through my perceptions of her into being real. It hurt. I couldn't articulate it, but it bruised my ego. I don't know how to truly explain that, but it was the first form of positive disassociation that I went through. Deep inside me, I knew that there was no turning back. She was human now. Yeah? So that is key. What these people, the ones who really get it and change in a fundamental way, will realize the humanity and others as separate beings. They're not part of themselves. Okay? So that is key. For any of these kind of people out there, this is key really to breaking that cycle. So before then, knowing what I know now, I truly had never loved my mother. It sounds horrible, but it's true. She was never really human to me. She was more like a shallow 2D thing, a feeling. She had no constancy. I remember being convicted in my disagreements with her and my family. I now know that it was all a deep sense of pride, but during the time I was truly and honestly convinced that I was right and had always been treated unfairly for no reason. I thought people just didn't like me. I was the special one, the cursed one, my vice. Even though I tried to clear my karma with kindness and a beautiful heart, I thought that people still took me for granted. Eventually, after my mother gained her constancy back in my head, I slowly began to think that maybe the world was not as I saw it. From that thought, everything crashed around me miserably. I couldn't deny it. I trailed between illusion and disillusion for a while. Some days it was too painful to accept my states of consciousness. These days I'd take the easy way out and just think higher of myself. I knew I was eccentric and far out before then, but that made me unapproachable. I couldn't find my far out crowd. So I looked at the formulae for typical group dynamics. I tried fitting in with groups, even though I couldn't quite get it right. It took about 8 years until I started to feel comfortable in a group. At first it felt like I was selling myself short by fitting in, like I was betraying myself by trying with people who seemed too simple for me. Long story short, I dove into spirituality. I read books like The Alchemist, The Prophet, Seat of the Soul, Power of Now, you name it. Everything around me crumbled. I dropped out of college, was ostracized by many. I reached a space where I began to see glimpses of my broken self and read even more spiritual books in order to gain humility. Spirituality painfully tore me down. Eventually I started to feel people's loss of respect for me. I also grew a sense of awareness. I could easily sense that I was losing my intimidating respect, but I could also feel my internal healing taking place, so I kept on going. It was worth it. I was becoming lighter. For once I did not have to plot as much or dislike someone or something with unnecessary intensity. I felt less fake and more human. Yeah, because these people really do feel fake, because they are very fake. So naturally it grew in wealth, and another odd experience I cannot really articulate to this day. Before that I was acting out life, but thereafter I was becoming life. I got involved in fewer arguments. It was difficult because I thought I was correct in most of them, but had to remind myself not to be as invested. I became somewhat of a hermit or doormat. My goals were different now. I had a huge spiritual ego. I wasn't aware of this at the time, however. I'd finally healed my toxic nature. I had learned through many religions and worldviews how to love and truly treasure love. So my view of religion, I try and look at people like Bruce Lee, who wherever something works, you use whatever works and throw the rest away. So good stuff can come from everywhere. That is just the wisdom that I've found in life. So I'm not going to pretend like everything in Christianity is great, everything in Buddhism is great, but you take from wherever it works and you throw away the stuff that doesn't work. So this guy, he went back to varsity, he completed and became a colourful hippie. Years later, he met an ex who idolized him, then took him for a roller coaster ride. He was confused for months until he did research for general signs and symptoms. He came across NPD and NVS. He was surprised or shocked that he had been a narcissist himself and had recovered without even knowing. And now he was the one without constancy. Karma does have its ways, I thought. So I took the data to my ex, and as you may have guessed, was gaslit. It took 5 months to break up completely. I thought I could help him by showing him the path that I had taken to heal, but that only brought hurt to myself. I ended up losing everything I had and started all over again, only this time with awareness and deliberate intent. I realized that, like me, he was locked inside his own mental prison. It's difficult to make psychological leaps. Period. If change seems necessary to your level of self-awareness, then changing would not make sense to you. So yeah, quite a lot of these people, they literally think that it's unnecessary for them to change in any way because they are actually perfect. That's the tricky thing, because they can never see that anything is possibly imperfect about them. It's really difficult to understand that for me. It's really, really tricky for me to get my head around that way of thinking. His journey wasn't going to be easy at all, but he had to go at it alone. So yeah, this is what I found for people who I've met who are like this, and I've had to move on and let them go and work out their issues by themselves, because I can't do anything apart from, yeah, I do these videos. I don't know if they watch them, or they even get what they're trying to say. But anyway, I do this for the goodness of everyone else. Hopefully it does something. So it took this person over 12 years since they first realized that they may have had a problem, and they've been clearing their karma forever, but the joy everlasting and awareness and love and light that they feel is unexplainable. I send words of wisdom to friends and family every now and then over WhatsApp and try to spread my love everywhere I can, including myself. I tell myself to value individuals with every conversation. I've taught myself to listen intently, even when I think the other person doesn't know what they say and it sounds irrational. I choose to value another's wisdom. I try to see them clearer. I value honor and light. I make the conscious effort to make the next person feel elevated while talking to me. I do this for the sake of myself, them, and humanity. It's always an enlightening choice to listen. I fit in somewhat healthily these days. I only spend time with humans who are both warm and intelligent. One could argue my motives here, but I hope to be around like-minded humans. Working on oneself is challenging. Yeah, it can be. Individuals with NPD are not truly aware of their toxic nature. It's the byproduct of their coping mechanism, a mechanism to hide one's insecurities. Yeah, definitely. And like these people, their envy is crazy. The envy and insecurity is evident, and I don't know how they can get over that. Some of them never do. Some humans trade shame for pride constantly. That's why you'd hardly get through to them. So yeah, it's like there's a deep shame, but then that turns into this layer of pride that can never be chipped away. So forget about changing people. That's what I've done. I forgot about changing people. You should only make that commitment to yourself. So that's what I did as well. And this person, when they said that when they're at their most narcissistic, we are incapable of seeing the true human. We're always on the go. When narcissistic individuals think they love you, you become an extension of them, hence all their projections onto you. So yeah, these projections of kind of shame and name calling, etc., and making you feel their shit. And they don't own their own shit. They try and projecting it onto you. So that is, you know, how people who you're close to can harm you. So on behalf of all humans with this NPD, I wish to say that I apologize. I was so messed up that I did not realize it to a point. The game played me too. It's hard enough for normal people to change. Sometimes we damage those we care for the most, and try not to fix people again. If you want to fix someone, fix yourself. So yeah, that's been a hard lesson for me, because I'm kind of like a sort of fixer person, and I tend to really want to kind of do that. But I know now that I'm more mature that you know, I do help people if they want it, but if someone doesn't want to change themselves, if they are actually literally perfect, then they will not change. So that's the end of that story. But I like that, how that person became more aware, and sort of, you know, that was an uplifting story, I thought. So there you go. It had a lot of up likes on Quora. It has like well, how many was 4? Yeah, it was like 592 up likes on that story. Not surprising. That is a very cool story, and I just wish there were more stories like that. It would be awesome. No one's perfect, myself included, and my movie Sandow is an exploration into that. It's pretty deep for me because it's about all these sorts of issues that surround everything, as well as being like a period drama sports movie. It's also to do with mental health issues of the characters involved. So if you watch that, it's free on YouTube, obviously. Let me know what you think about that film. And also I did a film called Parallel, which is also about mental health stuff as well, this kind of thing. So yeah, if you like my channel, please subscribe. Please like, share, and comment. I'd love to get a real conversation going on these, and get a real sort of community of stuff going on. And then it's honestly, at the moment, it's feeling a bit like a dead out there. Is anyone out there? Is anyone actually watching this video? Please comment if you at all got anything out of this video. If not, don't. But it would mean a lot to me to know that someone was actually watching this and sort of getting something out of it. So I'll catch you soon. Take care. Bye.